Friggin' X is screwing us right now. Do you
I
see
know.
that?
I actually was going to say the same thing. I went to retweet
Yeah.
it, went to share the stream, and it only has the stream link. It doesn't show that we're live, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is so crazy. So crazy. What's up, Fozzie? What's up, Steve Hobby?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Happy, what is it, Tuesday?
Yes, it's
I was about to
Tuesday.
say happy Wednesday, but then I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot so many things I was supposed to do today. So in case anybody's wondering, Wednesday is my jam-packed full busy day. I've got so many things going on.
It is Taco Tuesday, sir.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, how's your day, man?
Boring.
Nothing fun and exciting?
It's nice. It's like 80 degrees. But then that means I just had to turn my AC on in the van for the first time in like 7 months when I was driving around checking houses all day.
Man, well, this morning at like, 7:30 in the morning, I'm downstairs. I got the MetaQuest on. Dude, I was killing these bandits. And like sometimes, I couldn't really get them. My sword length wasn't like enough, you know what I mean? So I would sneak up on them, grab them by the head, you know what I mean? Take them out and then pillage all their stuff. So I was out there taking it seriously. My mom comes in. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm climbing up this rope right now. I'm climbing up this rope right now. I got to go pillage these bandits." So Blade and Sorcerer, if you guys have one of those things, check it out. It's definitely an interesting, exciting game.
What's up, Third Patriot?
Hey,
welcome.
Third Patriot. Welcome. So here we go. Being shadow banned by X. TikTok's been picking up a little bit, so there we go. If everybody is following on TikTok, we appreciate you guys. But also TikTok, it's been having some content.
Yes. It's a very, I mean, we got some news today, but it's a very underwhelming day in the market.
Yes. 100%.
I mean, we're a little higher than we were, about the same as we were yesterday at this time, but we're down somehow. I don't understand it.
100%. I think I'm gonna just share this. I'm gonna share some X posts, or should we just go ahead and go to market update and then come back to posts? What do you think?
It don't matter, however you want to do it. Before we do anything, though, we might as well reset the room. Welcome to the show, guys. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, tap that notification bell. If you're on X, tag some DGens. They're trying to shadow ban us. Let's get this thing reposted. We go live Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. PST, bringing you the daily news nightly. Yes, too many ETFs, Fozzie. See, me and Fozzie are like kindred spirits, bro.
No, 100%.
When it comes to these ETFs and stuff.
Well, like one of them I thought was funny. It was like finally the Fidelity Solana ETF. And so I thought that was funny because we've been hearing about the Solana ETF first and for so long now. But I wanted to touch on this little bit of drama that's going on in the Cardano ecosystem. Like always, there's always drama in the Cardano ecosystem. But World Mobile has moved to Base. And so some people are very unhappy about this move, about this decision. I saw a pretty crazy, I'm going to try to find it after this, response from Charles Hoskinson commenting on somebody in that thread. Did you see that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It was pretty wild. I'm going to try to find it. But the point here is that World Mobile has expanded over to Base. They're not they haven't said that they're leaving or that they're dropping support for Cardano. However, that's the way a lot of people have taken it right? They've taken it almost like it's an exit from Cardano. They've taken a lot of liquidity and have had a lot of funding from here. I think that they had like 25 million in funding or something that they got from the treasury and different things like that that people are talking about. However, I saw a bunch of really dumb takes all over the internet, all over the timeline, and I really liked Viva's take. I thought it was good. He said, on World Mobile Team, if you're investing in a company's token for the blockchain it's on, then just invest in the blockchain's token because that's your perceived value base. If you invest in the company or token for the business model, then exposure is exposure regardless of the chain. And I agree. I think that a lot of really great products, like I would say World Mobile, I think is one of the biggest products that they have something that is very clear that they're doing, that people understand, that people enjoy their ecosystem. I think that
Right.
World Mobile did really well on Cardano, but like it needs to acquire more users. So it going to base, I don't necessarily feel like this is a bad sign. I think this is a good sign, bullish sign for World Mobile. And I
But
don't
is
look
it?
at the
But
way
is it? It's not. Is it leaving Cardano or
no, it's not.
expanding to
It's
base?
expanding to base.
Then what the hell's all the hubbub about?
Yeah, everybody's upset about it. They're saying that like L, his response was pretty much like, well, he basically like doesn't believe that they're not leaving Cardano.
Right. Well, he
Right.
was saying he was going out there talking about, come in, suck liquidity out of Cardano and move on to the next big thing.
No,
Basically that's the model that people
I
are.
I honestly see it more like it's just a growing business, right? You need more users to support the growth. And so they're
Yes.
really just, they have all the users that they can get over here. And so they're going elsewhere because they have to, if the people aren't coming to them, they have to go to the people. And that just is the situation. And I think that by moving to base, that's the closest way that they could get to something like Coinbase, in the way that they could perhaps in the future offer different products and services to the users of Coinbase, right? So like that is the kind of thing that I think is the long game there. But so I think this is cool. I'm not as
Well,
upset
I'm
about it.
looking at World Mobile's chart right now, and
Is it still
JPEG
up?
Empire is definitely down from where
Oh,
it invested.
well, that's okay. It's a long game. It's the long game. And you
It
know
is a
what?
long
Maybe
game.
maybe we'll sell it for ETH, you know?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I can't accept that. That I can't accept.
All right. So that was what I had there that I was looking at. I think there were a couple other things, but I've lost them. So I'm going to have to find them in the meantime. And let me
I
actually.
might have, we should probably do this type of segment in the beginning. I only have the one bookmark on this, though. I only have. But
Yeah.
I think this is a good thing. I think you should grab some bookmarks. I'll grab some bookmarks, and in the beginning, when we're doing our intro, we go over, a little bit of Twitter. But this in Fidelity just bought another 60 million worth of Bitcoin. That was really the only thing I had for today. These ones are all older. I mean, I don't.
Bullish.
Unless I have something on my personal account. I thought I did. I thought I had more bookmarks than that. Oh, we got Carl the Moon saying that. So this right here is the total. So this is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and money. It looks like. What is it? The crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, stable coins, 1 week. And he's saying we're in this giant cup and handle. Boom. We broke out of the triangle, retest, and now we're getting ready to hit that parabola to the upside. So,
Crazy.
I mean, he says a lot of stuff, but the dude's a billionaire. So, and he made it from trading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can
100%.
only, you know, you may want to take it with a grain of salt, but you definitely got to pay attention when he's talking about charts for sure.
All right. Before then, I found it. Okay. So this guy, Jose Macedo, I actually would like to talk to him. I'm not sure what his actual role is. I have to do a little bit more digging, but he made this post about the post here from World Mobile, talking about all this stuff and basically giving a huge explanation about their journey, all this stuff. Okay. Too long, don't read. But then we have Mr. Telecoms here saying all this great stuff, support. And then we have Charles. The only mistake made was when your dad forgot to wear a condom.
Well, see, I seen somebody else repost that post, and they were talking about how he was one of the people that kind of like pushed him out of Cardano. Whoever this Jose guy is, he must be CF or IOG or I don't know, probably CF because Charles is always butting heads with CF. Click on his profile, see who he's with.
I will real quick, but then he has this. He says, if you said this to me in person, you'd be calling me daddy within 5 minutes. Maybe spend less time on cringe 12-year-old banner, more time worrying about your ghost chain and your fat ass. And then so there they go, going back and forth. Charles is saying that he always is pooping on Cardano. So it's Delphi Labs.
Yeah. Oh, he's some kind of looks like he must be some kind of freaking MMA guy or something. There's scoreboard in the back. Yeah, jiu-jitsu. There we go.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought it was look, karate combat, let's make it happen. IOHK, you down, fatty? Oof.
And of course, you know, a person like that who is obviously physically superior to Charles and is obviously a trained fighter, their first thing is to go right to violence.
Yeah, I thought
I got no respect. I got no respect for a person like that. So
yeah, I thought it was wild. But yeah. Anyways, I thought it was a pretty crazy, like, immediate comment. Like, I don't know what was going on in the background, but imagine that somebody is posting some congratulatory, like, I just got this nice new job, or I'm doing this big boy thing, you know, or like whatever. Like, I finally moved out of my apartment. I bought this home. And then you're just like, the only mistake you ever made was your dad not wearing a condom. I just felt like that was so left field. I don't know.
Well, like, I think there's a much larger backstory and history between the two.
I hope so. I saw it. It surprised me. I was like, whoa. It's like,
I mean, but then again, Charles is known for making just crazy statements. So
yeah,
you know, he's definitely eccentric.
It's definitely a little bit sensitive sometimes, but without further ado, let's hit market update. Let's reset the room. So everybody out there, hit us with a like, subscribe, share this with a friend. And if everybody were to share this with one friend, we'd have twice as many people. It is math. But let's see what's going on in the market. Lots of stuff going on.
All right. Let's get some of the freshest data. Boom. So we're down 1.6%, but I'm pretty sure we were lower than 2.982 trillion yesterday.
We were not this close to 3 trillion.
I thought we were at like 296 or 297, but either way, coming in at 2.98 trillion. Low volume on a Tuesday, 95 billion. Bitcoin dominance the same at 58.4, Ethereum at 8.38, and still less than 1 GWei to send to ETH transaction. We got Bitcoin coming in at 87,713, up 0.4. Ethereum at 2069, down 0.5. XRP at 246, up 0.6. Like to see that. We got BNB at 631, down 0.7. Solana at 144. Excuse me, up 1.8. Cardano, we broke that 74-cent mark. We're going to talk about it later in the stream. Coming in at 75.09, up 2.2%. 74 has been acting like support all day. Tron coming in at 22.76, up 0.3. And you know we got to check on SWI, still coming in at 22, but up to 249, up 3.1%. So not too shabby for SWI. Biggest gainers is a crazy one. Movement, for some reason, is up 31.3. What'd they do? Announce an ETF or something? I have no idea why this is up so much today.
We did talk about that being something that was talked about before. Somebody talked about making a move ETF. I don't think that
we
it
did talk about that.
We did talk about that before.
Talk about that.
And you were just like, they're giving everything. They're giving everything.
Because I had mentioned they had just the project just started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a very old project. Chronos pumping on the Trump ETF news, up another 14.9% today. It pumped like 6% since in the past hour and 20 minutes. It pumped 6% and then came back down. It's still up a little bit. It's down on the hour right now, but we got Render at up 8.5. We got Avalanche up 7.1. Immutable up 7.1. I don't even know what to say. Polexmatic Polygon is up 5.6. We got Algo up 4. What?
One of them.
One of them.
Or
it's got to fall under one of them, right? Algo's up, Doge, Ondo, Stack. So we got a pretty good list. Not huge gainers, except for like the top 3 right here, or the top 2 mainly, and then a couple little lower ones. But let's look at the biggest losers. Pi down again, 7.4%. Hyperliquid down 3, Bonk down 2, Cosmos down 2, Aave, Toncoin, Aptos, Caspa, Jupiter. That's really about it. You know what I mean? And then some. So not very many losers. Definitely got some big gainers. We love to see it. You know, I still don't understand these numbers. You know, how are we down 1.6%? I'm gonna have to check to see where we were when we did the market update yesterday. Gonna have to check on that. But that is your run through on the market update. Next is headlines.
Yes, and before headlines, we'll have a message from our sponsors. Join us at Rare Evo, the top blockchain conference, August 6th through 10th, 2025, at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. The top blockchain projects like Algorand, Midnight, HBAR, ICP, Thorchain, and Igon, and many more are going to be there. This is definitely a must for blockchain enthusiasts and fans. Use discount code CryptoNightly to save on your tickets and to support the channel. Don't miss it. We can't wait to see you there. It's going to be a blast.
You're supposed to already have your screen share going.
Yes,
when we come out of
realized that after the fact. Okay, I was sitting there thinking about it during the commercial, and I was like, man, you know what I should do is I should pick this one, but they're not in order. When I click screen share, it's not in the same order as my tabs that I organized, right? But we're going to start on this one because I think this is pretty exciting. Starknet is going to be settling on Bitcoin and Ethereum to unify the chains. So this will basically be kind of the equivalent of what is going on in Cardano with Midgard. This will be like that middle translational layer so that developers will be able to use Ethereum smart contracts on Bitcoin. And so this is exciting. This is similar to what Bitcoin OS is doing, but Starknet is seeking to do it with Bitcoin and Ethereum, the 2 largest market cap blockchains in the entire crypto ecosystem. Right. So this is exciting. I think this is cool. Starknet was one of those projects I was very excited about at the beginning when it was launching and everything, and they had a whole test net and thing. things going on there. And then I always get this one confused with Stargate, right?
You know what?
Stargate.
That is so funny because when you're talking about, I'm like StartNet. Isn't
Yeah.
that swapping site? And then you
Yeah.
said Stargate. Yeah.
Yeah. So Stargate and Starknet, they are very similar to me in my mind. But the big differentiator is I always think about Stargate because it was Andreessen Horowitz, I think it was, A16Z bought all of the tokens before it went like in the private sale. Like he bought all of them before it could ever like go beyond to anyone else. And I
Oh,
think it was
really?
Andreessen Horowitz. If it wasn't, it was Sam Bankman-Fried. But I remember that there was a story about that with Stargate, and so I always confuse Starknet with it because they're very similar. They're trying to be omni-chain, and they have zk proofs, and then so it's a whole thing, roll-ups and stuff going on in both ecosystems. But this is bullish. I like every time that we have these crossovers between blockchains where they're seamless, because essentially that's what it's going to be. I think of blockchains kind of like web pages that have special purposes. So if I am in one web page that is like my bank account and that kind of stuff, and then I'm in another web page that is like Amazon and my buying and purchasing stuff, I think that the future is going to be when I can do all of those things that I'm doing in these special purpose tabs in the same space without too much going from one place to another. Like even that going from one tab to another tab is friction. And I think that the internet is
Right.
naturally going to get beyond that. And blockchain
Well,
has to get beyond that.
and that's what so you're talking like, what is it? It's not WeChat. What is China's
Yeah,
all-in-one
no,
mobile
it
app?
is. It's WeChat. WeChat.
Oh,
I
okay. It
think that
is WeChat.
everything is going to eventually bundle up into
Yeah.
like the most useful everything in one place. And I think that we're
That's
getting
what
closer to
that's
the
what
future.
Elon wants X to become.
Yeah. And I think that that's really, I mean, he's a visionary in so many different ways, I will say. And then, like, people say that, he's not the visionary, but the people in his companies are. But the way that I look at it is that he sees the connection between all these different things. Right. So, like, the boring company that digs tunnels under cities,
Right.
when we become interplanetary and we have to build cities, it's easier for us to
Right.
just dig cities underground of another planet, right?
Right.
And so, like, there's all this kind of different stuff that I feel like he's thought about, right? There's SpaceX, there is Starlink. Starlink is connecting more people in the universe, but he has Tesla. So, if you were going to
Right.
harvest electricity from the sun, what better way than satellites? Cast a
Right.
net of
Not to mention Tesla is also like a battery technology company
yes,
because they
exactly.
design the batteries for the. I think people misunderstand the word visionary because I would, just like you said, Elon Musk is a visionary. He may not be the person implementing that vision. That would be his employees, his scientists, his engineers, his stuff like that. But he's the one, like you said, that sees that connection. The Boring Company, the SpaceX, the Tesla,
The Neuralink for AI
yeah,
alignment.
Neuralink, freaking the what's the internet provider?
Yeah,
Um,
Starlink.
Oh, Starlink. Not
Yep.
no, Neuralink is the chip in the head.
Yeah, but that one
Starlink.
too. Yep.
Yeah. So he's the visionary. He sees, especially. I'm assuming he has this like massive vision with like of a globe, and it's all these different all these different points, and they're all intersecting, and then he, delegates and
Yep.
starts up and does that.
Absolutely. I think it's pretty ambitious. I like it. I think we need to be multiplanetary. And
Yeah.
I hear echoes from your side.
Echoes from my side.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I was going to hit this. We love this. GameStop hints at future Bitcoin purchases following the board's approval. We've been talking about this. There's been a lot of memes and there's been a lot of jokes about GameStop putting all the cash that they made from the stock bonanza that happened before, that they should put that cash in a Bitcoin. And so I feel like people have just been chipping away at this joke, and now it's happening. So
Right.
GameStop is going to buy Bitcoin with their cash. And this is interesting because they've said that they want to become a Web3 marketplace, and then different kinds of things like that. So it's interesting that they're moving this direction. It's like the joke has become the reality. Harvest energy
Right.
from the pyramids, all you need. That's true.
Have you seen? Have you
Yes.
seen the new thing they found
Yes, and it's
with
very
whatever
interesting.
imaging?
They're
They
saying,
look like pillars,
yep, they're
huh?
saying that the pillars go really deep, really, really
Like
deep into the,
2,000 meters or something like that.
yeah, crazy,
And they
crazy.
appear to have something wrapped around them, supposedly. I mean, nobody knows. We're talking about whatever they use, LiDAR or whatever
Yep.
ground penetrating imaging they use. And it just looks, to me, it just looks like red, yellow, and orange freaking blotches that are vertical. But,
Yeah. No,
whatever.
I agree. But I think it's interesting. I think it would be very exciting to find out that there is all kinds of lost technology we didn't know about, or that we forgot about, right? I think that's exciting. But shout out to
Right.
GameStop. We want them to do that. That's going to be great. And then here was the one that we knew, but I don't know what like this part is, right? This right here, every single time it comes up, I struggle with the CBOEBZX. Officially files the 19B4 for Fidelity's Solana ETF, which we thought Solana ETF was going to be the first one. But this is just a late filing. Kind of interesting. A lot of the big guys already did. And here's Desert's favorite news article. PumpSwap captures 21% of Solana DEX market a week after launch. So one of the other articles I have said 1.4 billion in a week in fees. So that was pretty wild to me. Let's see if I can. No, I can't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, 1.2 billion in a weekly volume. Okay, in weekly volume with
Well,
the
I mean,
surge driven
it,
by.
it makes sense, especially if it's integrated right into pump.fun.
Yep.
It is correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So if they're dumping radium and they're using that for all their liquidity pools and everything like that, and it's integrated right into pump.fun, yeah. I mean, it's a genius move. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't have to like it to recognize the genius of it.
and it's probably a similar situation to like what Snake.fun does, where like you bond the pool, but then they keep fees.
Right.
Right. So I mean, I think it's smart, or a percentage of the supply.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like any other company that does a vertical integration of their system, you know what I mean? So, like if you I guess I don't know how to explain it. If you're a farmer that grows corn and then instead of, chopping down the corn and just sending it off, you build a place that refines it into whatever, then so that's a vertical integration to the company and everything like that. It just makes sense, keeps money in the company.
And you're going to love this one. So, Brazil upholds its ban on cryptocurrency rewards for World ID biometric data. So, take that, Sam Altman.
Right.
So, that was
Say what you
fun.
want about the authoritarian regime in Brazil. They're standing up to Sam Altman.
Yeah, there we go. Absolutely. And so, we have blockchain collabs with Siemens to tackle data security needs in automotive, energy, and healthcare. This is bullish. This is what I always say is the biggest use case for blockchain, is data security. This can
Right.
be done correctly, and things can be secure, right? From a software standpoint, from an internet network standpoint. I think that this is inevitable. Siemens and some of these other companies have already been messing with this stuff. So this article is coming out yesterday, but we already know that this kind of stuff is going on an institutional level, and we love it. I think this is great. This is something I'm very interested in. Siemens is actually, well, was one of the biggest competitors to a company I used to work for.
They also have Siemens has a Bitcoin reserve too.
Yes, as well.
We've talked about them buying Bitcoin before.
Yep, super bullish. But Trump demands the Treasury Department modernize and centralize its payment system. This was actually something that has come up a bit. They're talking about a modernized payment system because the Department of Treasury uses like one of the original like computer systems. Like their software
they're probably still running on
DOS. Yeah, is literally like, the original stuff, the original technology, right. And it didn't advance anymore. And then after you get to a certain point, I think Elon was even quoted saying that the computer systems are so old that it costs so much to maintain them because there are so few people that still know how to like do that.
Right.
Which is crazy. And so I think that this is definitely something that needs to happen. I do believe that there needs to be a modernization. I don't agree with the centralization of its payment system, but obviously from the government standpoint, they need a centralized system. And
CBDC.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I see this as like a forewarning of a CBDC.
It's a freaking Trojan horse, man.
Yeah, because this is, I think that we've said it ages ago that the CBDC is going to be presented to pay people like a stimulus check or
Social security benefits.
Yes, exactly. And that they're just waiting
any kind of government assistance, or we'll have a black swan and stimmy checks will come out or something like that. And that's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to introduce it. They're going to be like, all right, you just got to download this app, sign up, and then you'll get your money, and boom, it's CBDC.
Yep.
Fed now. What happened to Fed now?
Yep. 100%. 100%. And they're going to be like, here's your money that we've given you, the government, but try to spend it on something cool and we might stop you.
Right.
All right. So that's what we got going on there. Let's see. Ripple settles with the SEC, pays $50 million as the case nears the conclusion. This was massive because they were supposed to pay, I think it was like 120 million, maybe more than that. 125 million. And so you were saying that they basically appealed the settlement, like the payment.
So the way it went down, they were found guilty of doing selling a security. The initial sale was deemed a security. All secondary sales were non-securities, and then the conclusion was $125 million settlement. Right. Well, then the SEC filed the appeal of the ruling that the secondary sale, if I'm not mistaken, the appeal was for the ruling that the secondary sale of XRP was a security, is what they're stating. So then Ripple was like, all right, you guys are going to keep this going and dragging it out. Well, we're going to appeal the 125 million in settlement payment in fines or whatever. So that's where Ripple stepped in with the appeal.
Yeah. I apologize. I was looking for an article earlier that I had bookmarked. And then it turns out that one of the articles that I have here has that thread. Okay, so did you see this about U.S. Marshals arresting Veer Cheadle's Wiz, the third suspect in a 240 million Genesis creditor crypto scam?
Wow, no.
Okay, so where I saw it, here is his mugshot. This was posted on Twitter by the good old Zach XBT. And so we got this guy, Cheeto Veer. And basically, let's see if I can actually just go to the whole thread. But Zach XBT goes out to point out these guys. It was basically a confidence scam. And they were able
Okay.
to get 230 million. So they both got indicted. Actually, I believe the three of them had been indicted. Yeah. The three of the guys that pulled off this scam. And yeah, and this guy was the last one that was actually apprehended. But Zach XBT, we love him. He's interesting. He's got all kinds of stuff going on here. And he did the whole all of the people, everything that they bought, like all of the chain of events of everything, how they did this. So an investigation into how Malone Eames, Veer Cheadle, and Box stole 243 million from a single person last month in a highly sophisticated social engineering attack. My efforts, which have helped lead to multiple arrests and millions frozen. And then it goes on to this whole thread.
What single person that has, or okay, let me rephrase that. If you are a single person with a net worth of over $243 million, because it says from a single person,
it's got to be a billionaire.
Well, I mean, you can't be a moron unless you won the lotto or something.
That, you know what I mean? Or I would say it could also be one person that is like the gatekeeper or that is entrusted X amount of money, right? Like they manage some money for some reason.
Well, unless it's like nepotism or cronyism, you don't get to that level of money management by being a freaking tard.
Yeah, well, it was social engineering. So obviously the person that got scammed didn't know that they were getting scammed.
Right.
They believed it.
Yeah.
But it said Genesis creditor. So it was probably like they were like, hey, you won this money in this case, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And they click something and then done. You know what
That's the old Nigerian print scam.
Exactly.
From the freaking 90s.
Exactly. And then so here's what I was saying. Pump funds, PumpSwap hit 1.2 billion in weekly volume in a surge driven by small transactions. Crazy, but that's what I got. That's the news.
Dewey Cheadle.
Howie.
Dewey Cheadle and How.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's take a minute, hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, do all that good stuff. Do us a favor, share this with a friend. Twitter seems to be shadow banning us. We only got like 18 people in here tonight, and that is because Twitter is just showing a broadcast link and not the actual broadcast, which is super weird. But that being said, let's get into our next segment. You got the, do I got to hit the button? Introducing the relaunch of JPEG Boss Mint, a game changer in the NFT world. This isn't just another mint. It's a community-governed project where you hold the power. Here's the deal. 50% of all mint funds fuel a community investment wallet controlled by boss holders like you, driving collective growth. The proceeds, 60%, go straight back to active participants, rewarding your engagement. 20% powers overhead and expansion. And the final 20% flows to JPEG Empire until the seed funding's repaid. Join the revolution, mint with purpose, govern the future, and reap the rewards. And your opportunity is coming this Friday. The relaunch reopens this Friday, and I do not know why I am on that tab. So, all right, let's check out what is going on. So let's go out. We're out here on the daily on Bitcoin coming in at 87,781. We did put in a red candle today, a big old indecision doji. It doesn't know what it's going to do. As a matter of fact, let's see what we got here. So DBSI is giving us a 10 and a -3, not super bullish, almost neutral. And let's see here. So you do have a reversal or a change in the trend triangle right here. I wonder if that'll change with. Okay. So it just moves when you put on Heikinashi. But it does look like our ribbons are restricting. You know, we've been in this down red, right? So now our moving averages are starting to restrict, and hopefully they flip green. See how these bottom bands, the green is starting to come across. So that's what we want to see. Get rid of that noise real quick. There we go. Momentum still going to the upside. So we got the VWAP coming down. We got the momentum going to the upside. We got money flow going to the upside. We got RSI and Stokes getting ready to roll over. And we got the VWAP coming down. And the VWAP, like we always say, the VWAP usually precedes a movement in the momentum. But it could be something like this. You see the VWAP was coming down, right? And we were getting that little clip to the side like we were getting ready to get a red dot. But then momentum change, or the VWAP changed and started going back up, so it continued. And then when this one started to drop is when we actually got the momentum change. So it is quite possible that we just come down. Whoops. It is quite possible that we just come down, boom, V shape, and go back up. Money flow is looking good. You know, we're getting that nice curve, right? Want to see that go up. We want to see the momentum continue to the upside on the daily. When we come down, we have printed 1, 2, 3 candles above the 200 MA, which is awesome. We definitely want to see that. And when we come down here to the 4-hour, so 4-hour, this is a bullish setup right here. This is like the sauce. Okay, we broke the 200. We retest. We broke again. We got the 21 getting ready to cross. So if we do see any downside tonight, I expect something like this. And then like boom, boom, boom. Retest the 21 and then go up. You know, if we lose the 21, then we're going to continue to the downside. But I would expect the next candle. So here in 2 hours and 15 minutes, I would expect the 21 to be crossing the 200. And the 50 is not far behind. So, you know, we be seeing a golden cross on the 4-hour for Bitcoin here shortly. Let's go down to the 2-hour. 2-hour, kind of same thing. We retested the 21, got a bounce, and we're staying above it. So that's nice. Momentum. No, even though, I mean, we're putting in lower lows, but we're not getting any bearish divs because our momentum isn't higher. Our RSI isn't higher. So it's just kind of like a trend down. So, I mean, you could flag this out, you know, and we could just bounce in this area for a little bit before we break up, you know, let the momentum reset. Money flow's curved down a little bit. Momentum's coming down. VWAP is flat. RSI and Stokes were coming down and now have flattened out. So we could see a reversal in this and go back to the upside. I'm still bullish on what we're seeing though these past couple of days. It's slow. You know, it's 3 steps up, 2 steps back, but we're still going up. You know, we're still moving to the upside. Lower time frames. Let's go down to the 5 minutes, see what's going on. So we might have a short-term pump here. We might be getting a short-term pump because we are getting the perfect little setup. We just broke the 200. Boom, retest, pump, and it almost looks like the daily on a smaller scale, right? No, not the daily. I'm sorry. The 4 hour. So that's the 4 hour, right? Break, retest, break. Same thing. Break, retest, break. And we got the 5 coming up. Money flow to the upside, VWAP to the upside, Stokes, RSI, switching course, moving to the upside, momentum going down. So I would expect a clip here shortly. But this is the 5 minutes, so this is going to play out quick. I mean, we could come down like that, and that's only what? That's not even an hour away, this move, if it came down here as money flow started to come up and your VWAP started to come up. So I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. I'm liking that. This is the main thing right here. We were talking about this last night. So Cardano, and this was the same setup on the 2 hour that we were talking about last night. I think where were we? We were right about here. So right here. And I was telling you that we could see this come down, touch the 21, bounce, the 21 breaks, get ready to get this bullish cross right here, or this golden cross, where the 50 and the 200. We've come back down, retested, and we've been able to hold over 74. So the most we've held over 74 was right here in this area. We didn't even break above it till right there, which was about, so 1 day and 6 hours, right? So as of right now, we're about 18 hours in to this one. But I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing for Cardano. And I think once we get some momentum under us, boom, we're going to 81. I was in a scalp earlier. I got stopped out when I got stopped out in profit as it came back to 75 cents. Then it dropped down and then I re-entered. I am still in a long on Cardano. I am also in a long on XRP. I am a little underwater on the XRP. I started longing right here when we cracked 48, and then we dumped back down, and now we're going back up. But XRP is looking good too, you know. So we go out to the 4 hour. We broke the 4 hour quite a while ago. Boom, broke through, came down, retested 21, fell through it, broke through again, retest, and now we're right in this 21. Plus, we got this bullish cross on the 50 and the 200 right here. You know, we got money flow to the upside, VWAP to the upside, momentum to the upside, all on the 4 hour for XRP. So to me, it's only a matter of time. We're going to establish ourselves above 248 and shoot for this 271, this next SR level right here. So that is kind of what I'm seeing in the market. Also, SWE is looking good. So we come out here and we drew this yesterday. I don't think we drew it on the 4 hour though. I think we drew it on the 1 hour. I think it might have been on the 1 hour. It doesn't matter because it's still cup, handle, break of the rim, retest, break again. Now we're above the 247 SR level that we've been under. Hit our head there, you know what I mean? When we came down, bounced back up, support, we played around with it right here, and then we banged our head on it a couple times. Well, we've officially gotten above that, and this is the 1 hour. So it'll be nice to see a couple candles close above 248, and we're definitely heading in the right direction. Let's see here. We haven't reclaimed on the 2 hour. Oh, so we just reclaimed on the 3 hour. We just reclaimed the 200 on the 3 hour, and getting bullish mode. We're getting bullish crosses, 21 across the 50, heading for the 200. Price action above the 200, retesting the rim of that cup. and getting above 248, and the 50 starting to go back to the upside. Let's see. Money flow is to the upside. Momentum is to the upside. It looks like it was clipping right here to go back down, but then this little leg up in the past couple hours has started it to go back up a little more. VWAP is flat, so it's not going down, it's not going up. Can't really, yeah, it's just like almost perfectly flat. It's almost a straight line, little bit of pitch to the upside, but definitely liking that. I'm optimistic. You know what I mean? I could even see. Let's see, what's the lower? Let's go to the 4-hour real quick. 4-hour kind of looks like it's rolling over. The daily. No, see, the daily's coming to the upside.
How do you think April 2nd and the tariffs will affect the market?
How do you think April 2nd and the tariffs will affect the market? What's April 2nd?
It's a good question. I'm not sure. But I think that
There
that's
is something. Oh, that's Trump's. That's the tariff. That's when, because I remember Trump saying, "Oh, I was going to do it on April 1st, but that's probably not a good idea or whatever." Because whatever. I'm almost thinking that tariffs at this point are just a buzzword, because the more he says tariffs and the less it affects the market, or let me rephrase that. The more he talks about tariffs and the less volatility we see in the market, the less and less it has any bearing on what the market does.
Contrary to that, I believe that there will, no matter what, be like a spook in the market. I think that there'll be a retracement whenever tariffs go in, and I think that that's going to have a quick reversal afterwards. But
why wouldn't it already be priced in?
Because I think that when he goes out there and then he says it, people are going to use it as an
He's already said it, though.
I know. But I'm saying that I think people will use it as an opportunity to sell, like big money, and then they'll just buy lower and then get back in their positions that they already have been selling over this period of time. Right?
I mean, it's possible, and it'll be Q2, so it is possible we see a dump. I just don't. I think people put too much, not people like how you're asking that question, Third Patriot. I'm saying like the news and everything, they put too much behind this tariff thing, because first of all, they're the only monetary negative we've had from tariffs are from speculation, and we're actually having good things happen. I was watching the news earlier. Rolls-Royce is getting ready to open up a shop in the United States,
and Hyundai
because
also.
like 30 or 40% of their business comes from the United States. Most people just think of the Phantom and the Rolls-Royce cars, but Rolls-Royce is very big in creating. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine, John. Rolls-Royce creates fighter jet engines. You know what I mean? Most of their money comes from engines. You remember the old Mustangs during World War II and stuff? Those were like Rolls-Royce engines. So, and then I think we still may see short-term volatility for sure. But I think in the long term, I think the tariffs are a good thing.
I think short term, I think it'll only be short-term volatility.
Yeah, because I mean, there's already companies. People are like, well, what about Audi? What about Audi? What about BMW? The prices.
Well, Hyundai is coming. Hyundai, or I think it was Hyundai, is building a new facility, and I think it's supposed to be a massive one too.
Yeah, but they're not talking about Toyota. They're not talking about Mercedes. You want to know why? Because Mercedes has one of its biggest manufacturing plants in Alabama. I think it's Alabama. And Toyota, the Tundra and everything are built in Tennessee. So you don't. I don't know.
100%.
I agree. I may not know the economics of the tariffs, but I do agree that if we are exporting something to, say, England, and they're charging us 100% tariff, but when they export something to us, we only charge them 10%. That seems a little ridiculous, right?
100%.
So
100%.
I don't know. But overall, I am liking what I'm seeing in the market. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a nice little pump tonight. While Bitcoin's trying to regain 88,000. What did we hit today? We hit 88,584, so a little less than yesterday. We could see, altcoins are running a little more today than they did yesterday. They're just continuing with this. The daily on Cardano, we've had 4 green candles in a row on Cardano. We had 1, 2, then we had pretty much a flat day, even though it's barely negative on XRP. SWI. Boom, was that 5 green candles? Ondo's been killing it, green candles on the daily. So the trend, in my opinion, is changing. Look, FET, 5 green candles. Psy, all the altcoins are having, look, 5 for algo. Let's just click on them. Aptos had a bad day today, but we've seen that on the biggest losers. Link, even near all altcoins. You see what I'm saying? So the trend, I think, could be changing. While we may have pullbacks, we may have a little hiccup. I may have to look at this render chart. Kind of liking that. Rounded bottoms pay the bills. So that's where I'm at when it comes to the market. I am long XRP and Cardano right now.
Bullish. We love it. So whatever dip it creates, buy it. I think that's a pretty fair statement, Third Patriot. That's how I would agree with that right now. But I would also say, buy that dip, but also take profits aggressively and quickly, because the macro, the wider global markets are in disarray. And so we don't actually know what's going to happen in the world.
Well, we did print 3. We've had 3 positive sessions in TradFi. And I do believe TradFi is green pre-market.
Yeah.
So what you said, though, Third Patriot, so whatever dip it creates, buy it. Yes, but it could keep dipping.
Yeah.
Even with all the positive movement we're seeing in the past couple days, I do expect a rough summer. So we are still, we are green across the board. It's kind of flat, but it's not red, right?
Yeah.
Asia's green across the board. Australia, Japan, Hong Kong, Shanghai, they're green across the board. So the Nifty hasn't come in yet. So, but yeah.
100%.
I think that's what we got. I think that's the show.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you every night, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we're here to bring you the daily news nightly. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Introducing the relaunch of JPEG Boss Mint, a game changer in the NFT world. This isn't just another mint. It's a community-governed project where you hold the power. Here's the deal. 50% of all mint funds fuel a community investment wallet controlled by boss holders like you, driving collective growth. The proceeds, 60%, go straight back to active participants, rewarding your engagement. 20% powers overhead and expansion. And the final 20% flows to JPG Empire until the seed funding's repaid. Join the revolution, mint with purpose, govern the future, and reap the rewards.